Interiority has always been, I think, essential in my project. And more often than not, people imagine that artists are put in a position to do the thing that they love, and that most of that time is spent in what could be imagined as kind of the joyful exuberance of production. And the reality of that is not exactly true. Although I have enormous amounts of gratitude for being able to do something that is wildly rewarding for me, I love the process. I love the opportunity of the whole point in reflection that producing an artwork gives me. I'm more rewarded by that than I am the outcome as a whole. It's the giving birth for me that is most exciting. I'm thinking a lot about the opportunity for warmth, and something around these kind of natural tones felt really prescient. Reading a book by a writer named Kevin Quashie called The Sovereignty of Quiet, thinking about analogous palette shifts and how you can create these shifts and these groupings of palettes. So it's an opportunity to almost think about color as a version of collectivizing, or of community creation in a strange way. If you imagine that color and painting has an anima, or a soul of sorts. So as I was thinking about this idea of interior, idea of warmth, idea of vulnerability, an idea of the soul, and how one begins the process, however absurd, of illustrating the soul. It's also, of course, really related in quite an ambitious way with how I imagine my kind of self to be, in space today. My body, my soul, the removal of my body from my thinking, from my soul. I think I've used kind of the idea of the multiple character and this idea or opportunity that comes from the collective. So you see maybe a face being conjured high in the composition, also in the middle of the composition, and that same thing that becomes the face can start to feel like the breastplate or the body of the character. And so this idea that there are multiple ways of reading something, and from early on in my project, I always had a real enthusiasm for multiple exposure. Like how an image can be made and another image can then live on the surface of that image. And I think that that's where I get most curious, is the opportunity to think about line on line, wet on wet painting, or layering something becoming more of a collision, or the process of creating a transgressive position through picture making. There's an incredible challenge for me when I remove the formula of the grid from my work. And for so many years, and it continues to be the case, the grid is a organizing principle for me. And it continues even in the background of the soul painting. But in these sculptures, there's a different sense of freehand, and there's this different freedom. Because when I'm uncomfortable is when I think I'm doing the thing that is most appropriate. And being comfortable being uncomfortable is one of the things that I'm really, really trying to learn. And as an artist, as the filmmaker Kurosawa said, there's only one expectation, and that is to never avert one's eyes. It's facing down something that historically has been challenging for me, and not avoiding or averting my eyes from the possibility that my work can be effective in a different platform or using a different formula.
Celebration of this madness, this madness, not to settle for this madness, these yo-yos.
The film Sanguine is, for me, a really, really challenging example in my film work. It continues to use me as one of the protagonists, but in this film I'm including both my father and my son. And I think it really speaks to the liminal space that I occupy in a space that is really quite fascinating to occupy. You are truly blessed to have the opportunity to have it, because what it says is that your Father is alive and in your life, and your Son is alive and in your life. And you only have a period of time to which those realities are true. So as I evolve and as I find myself at a different stage, the work, in the most sincere way, I hope, continues to mirror that evolution and becomes an illustration of that kind of moment in time.